everyone to not a together re-roll, but a change-up group meeting session, essentially, of how they rolled. Episode 17, part 1 and 2, which is the names of...
Oh my god, I'm on the spot.
Yes, you were on the spot.
Oh my god, you're going to make me look. All right.
And your voice changed dramatically since we started the recording.
Shit. No.
It's right. shit, and part 2.
And oh no, is what the other thing that he said.
Oh, I see.
Oh god. All right. Thank you. Okay, first episode of part 1, 17, was Into the Darkness. We're going down in the pit.
Into the Darkness and Boogie Town?
Oh, Dark Spirits.
Dark Spirits, I like that.
Yeah, because there's a spirit involved at the end of this. It's not actually dark spirits, more innocent spirits at the end of that one.
Okay.
So,
I can dig it. Not the spirits, the name, I mean. Anyway, so this is part 1 at least. You guys took a short rest, first of all, after going through the traumatic experience of being possessed. For Hazel and Sparks, Sparks will be with us in just a moment. He's currently deconning himself from work. So, and I actually wanted to make a remark. You said after Eck, in your digital form, because you were out of town that time, so you had a screen and everything, but I'm glad you could join us this time. Hazel, I wanted to say that I'm like, that is a very soldier way of dealing with things, of when Eck asked, especially since you got possessed as well, not Sparks, Eck got possessed, stupid memory. He brought it up to you and wanted to see why aren't you freaking out, and you just said something along the lines of, I'm just going to keep moving so I don't think about it. Something along those lines. I'm like, I really enjoyed that. I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you.
Yeah. But seriously, between Eck and Hazel, and also the rest of the group here.
and that was the previous episode. That was episode 16.
Well, it started into episode 17 as you guys dealt with the negative side effects of what possession is, which is a scary aspect of it. Mm-hmm. And even though you could still see the events for the most part, because you got blinded several times over. What was you guys standing at that time, exploring the rest of the tavern now that you had a moment after that situation, and also dealing with the possession shit?
Well, for Hazel at least, she wasn't really sure how to go about apologizing to Varian. And so, like, she kind of kept her distance for a little bit until she finally was just like,
oh, my heart aches now.
I know.
We can't say it right now, though.
No.
Okay. I can see the negative side effects of waiting now.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. So
go to episode 18, folks. Hurry up.
I'm glad that Hazel was at least able to go and talk to him a little bit and be like, hey, that wasn't me. I'm really sorry. And so now all I have to do is go to the Desert of Teeth.
The Desert of Teeth, to make it up, right?
Yep. That's the deal.
Desert Teeth, fun name. No one made a history check on why it's called the Desert of Teeth yet.
It can't be good.
Oh, it's a fun place.
Now, Eck, how he was dealing with it is, okay, so he gets possessed in the earlier episode and recovers from it. It's getting this darkness and so forth, and so that was cast on him multiple times, which thankfully helped him a little bit here because he didn't see a lot of it. For all he knew, he was transporting back and forth, and it was just very confusing for him. But what got really scary was looking into this ominous hole, which is not really a hole. It's it's carved out in steps with these tracks on it.
Oh, you're going on to that step. You're not going on.
That's into darkness.
Yeah, I was talking about the possession, dude.
Correct. Well, this is where I'm getting into, is that he's dealing with the possession, and then he's dealing with looking at this dark cavern, and just doesn't want to go in, doesn't feel good about going in.
Backstory stuff.
Particularly because of the possession component, because there was something he ran into in a dark cave that, in his years before he met these fine folks of the Kindred Strangers, he it felt very much like he was dealing with the same type of fear thing that he dealt with then, because it was some dark spirit entity that was running in the, dealing with the cave. It's how he lost his leg. So
yeah, but I don't want to divulge too much information. I know it, you know it, but these guys don't know it. As far as I'm aware, we did not have that conversation yet.
He had a little one at one point.
Yeah,
quite a few episodes.
It was definitely a reinforcer of let's not talk about it. Let's move on. We're still in a unhappy room essentially.
Yeah.
As the floor literally cracked open from the bottom, as these various scrapes and cracks in the floor made sense now as a otherworldly entity started to pour through, and distant cries turned to chants as black shadow tendrils started to pull the creatures that you slew, the wraiths and the ghosts, forcibly back into the hole that you were going to explore.
No, it wasn't for. It was.
Now, Derek, you weren't here at the time because you were being old.
That's correct. You had me step out, guard the hallway.
Yeah, and you had to kind of handle different changes of your body.
That's right.
Yeah. Relearn.
That's why you started looking for gold pieces on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you already bent over anyway.
Not quite there yet.
And unfortunately, you also learned out that you're replaceable by Devus. By popular demand, you were swapped out for a newer model.
No,
younger model.
The guy that's 117 years old is the younger model. Thank God for elves.
I know, and that's why it's so funny that the one of the people that got aged was the human, not the elves. The elves, we were like,
I mean,
and
30.
you fall over.
30 years.
Yep,
Yeah.
30 years.
If he aged me 30 years, I probably wouldn't have even. I would have
Not
looked
really
exactly the
noticed
same.
it.
No
You
one
would have
would
got a
have
little bit of a chin hair.
like tiny bit of chin hair, just like.
Huh?
That's new.
Just when's the last time you shaved? And Dad was like, never. I mean, never. Really. I've never had to, but
I can grow a beard.
I didn't know that was a thing. Maybe I'm a half elf.
So it was actually.
Elves can grow beards.
I know.
It was actually the coaxing of Sonny, which got Eck to finally just say, "Okay, I'll do it."
That monster.
And
Sonny is Mr. Charisma when he needs to be.
yeah.
Yes, he is.
If it wasn't for what you had shared
Meanwhile,
when
God
you
is in
consulted
the
him and said, you got his back, and
By the way, Gauze in the hall was just like, you got this.
so
He ain't going into that.
it truly is. Again, Eck, he was confronting a fear that he hasn't been able to deal with, and emotionally, this really with the possession really took a toll.
So, you can't say much because you weren't part of this episode. You're gonna have to watch it just like the rest of the people in town.
Yep.
Sonny, you you saw your brother beaten to the inch of his life, literally, and barely saved by a almost loophole-ish kind of way of a temporary hit points, saving your brother from certain death. But either way, still very close from Hazel missing one of her three attacks.
Of course, the one time I rolled decent.
I mean, it happens.
And this is.
I know you said several times that you were just going to do fireball if he actually died, because you're like, oh, too late.
If I had them, yeah.
Yeah. Any comments on that fact of what's going on? I mean, what was he going? What was Sonny going through at that time?
Well, Sonny knew that he had heroism, so he was confident he could get back up. So
Okay.
that wasn't an issue at the time. I was more worried about those two not being able to come back from whatever they're about to do.
Yeah.
So
They got lucky. It was
Yeah, that
definitely a gravity-filled moment to a almost Looney Tune fashion to you. So you went down, found the mine carts,
Yep.
got the mine cart up the track because it would have been funny as hell if you guys went wee and found the third mine cart halfway down the freaking tunnel.
I almost did because I didn't almost get out.
So you got that out of the way, barely. Found out that these small reduced crates that you recently just found a magical item filled with 75 gallons that can actually go to 100 gallons of a condensed keg using space folding magics in order to make things lighter. Almost like a strange, different style of a bag of holding, but it's not a different dimension. It's quite literally folding of space, which is different. Which
Don't get them confused.
No, don't get them confused. But they can take damage, as you guys found out, as a crate exploded open. And Sparks, you had a couple of swords in your chest plate because of it.
Sure, let's go with that.
Yeah. So you found that out, got into the carts, went down, scraping all the way down the mine shaft as you barely fit into these mine carts, going at who knows how fast of a speed at a 45-degree angle downward.
Someone want to calculate that out?
Yeah.
My cart going
But
45
wasn't it being
down.
slowed down by his body scraping against the wall stuff?
No.
No. He
No,
wasn't
no, it
scraping
wasn't
the
the
walls.
walls,
It was the
the
tip of his
ceiling.
head.
Okay.
That was scraping the
Which is why I
ceiling.
don't have a horn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
I still think it would slow
how
down the
did
cart.
you weigh, by the way?
Over 500.
Yeah, you're pretty.
7 foot of solid metal.
Not solid metal. You have a metal/wood chassis.
Well, still, how much does a 7 foot tall soldier in full plate weigh?
Pretty bloody heavy.
A lot.
Yeah, and the dwarven forge is a
Plus
little
shield,
heavy.
plus sword.
It broke my heart hearing Barian talk to Sunny because Sunny and I were supposed to go on the same one at first,
Okay.
and Barian had warned Sunny to be careful of the monk
Oh.
because it was before I got to talk to him.
Oh. That sucks. So eventually you get down to the down to a flat, from 45 to flat surface essentially immediately. Davus, you got the unfortunate effects of that, as and it's also Ek as well. You were just in your tortoise shell, just doing
Well,
like,
I'm hunkered
yeah,
down.
you were hunkered
So,
down.
see you later. What? What's going on?
You broke out of just sheer luck as you try to
Well,
activate.
what happened first is we neared the bottom, and so I said, "Pull the brake." To which Ek replied, "What
What
brake?"
brake?
And we just hit the bottom, but then kept going at a level incline now. So at least we're not falling anymore.
Zoomed
but we're
past
still
the
going
enemies.
so fast. We zoomed past some enemies. Then I try to pull the brake, I pull it too hard, and I rip the whole fucking thing off. And I just go, "You've got a shell," and I jump out. But I jumped out right at a doorway.
Yeah, pretty much Looney
So I
Tunes
just-
style. Yeah, Looney Tunes style. Still taking half damage because evasion, but you rolled like.
Well, I didn't have evasion yet. Or wait, did I?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did.
You
Yeah,
did.
you're right,
That's
you're
when
right.
we found out we didn't update your character.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, but we fixed that, so don't worry. But it was still fucking funny.
I'm sitting there going, where'd everyone go?
It eventually stopped. You
No,
were-
I jumped out before it
Oh,
yeah,
never mind.
because
Just face
Well,
first.
hey, no matter what, it did eventually stop, whether or not anyone was in it.
Yeah, it was missing its back wheel, so it was
Yeah.
sparking the hell in the back.
It was fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
we had a great time.
Everyone else stopped with relative
we were so
much
quiet.
less difficulty compared to you.
This
You
is
had
the
a
stealthiest
hole
I've
in
ever
your
been.
head.
Did he got a horn stuck in?
Nah,
Yes.
which Barian
It is,
with
it
his-
is a permanent memory of Barian now. Stop.
we're not on that yet. We're not on that yet. Shush, shush.
Oh man.
Permanent
Yeah.
memory of Barian.
Yeah, it's a permanent memory Barian.
It's a token of his respect.
Found out a couple of things. Found out the scary part of undead with their infection rates. Because a couple of you got bitten. But seemingly shrugged off the effects. And then continued down to find a chamber that was heavily treated with some sort of heat-based property. With a giant fissure at the center of this room with a bunch of undead. You cleared out the undead and you...
Including Tim.
Including Tim the zombie. God damn, that zombie was freaking...
What do you make, like 8?
No.
It was persistent. Man.
By the way, if you don't know who Tim is, you got to go watch the episode and figure out why we call a zombie Tim.
Yeah, Tim the zombie, that guy.
I think it was like 6.
He was
He was
part
the
of
most
group.
respectable
6 seconds.
zombie out of all.
He was the champion of zombies. Okay? His undead fortitude. That guy had
6 times?
hacks for days. But
He's
so,
that zombie that just doesn't die.
so after clearing the room and doing a basic investigation and taking a short rest in there, as you guys started to hear bone snapping, some sort of sloshing material of energy powering up, followed by sloshing materials into a pool of some sort of liquid that seemed to be magically amplified, either trying to allure you away, or allure you to your demise, or try to scare you away in some fashion. First of all, do you, especially with that center, wherever that evocation thing that you found out through Sony, is there any idea of what that room might have been, or any story behind it?
Ooh,
or is this just something
I
that
think
you
we
guys
all
will
have
investigate on a
ideas.
later date? Because you guys didn't really explore much. You just decided short rest and then move on to the next room.
Yeah, no, we're talking. Are we talking the room with the? I'm sorry, we're talking the gigantic room with the, or are we talking the small room?
The big
with
room
with the,
that was basically, it used to be a different room, but it's impossible to tell what it was.
Gotcha.
Because it got blasted within an
Not
immense
the-
amount of heat with the fissure lava.
Right.
At the
Okay.
center.
Yeah, because there was the one room with the undead on the, or the dead bodies
beds.
on the beds and stuff.
That's later on, yeah. That's after Davos made a rookie mistake of not checking for additional traps before opening up a locked section of the door.
My head was still spinning. I Looney Tunes, man. I still had the stars circling my head. All right.
Stars and the little birdies.
Yeah, stars and the little birdies were circling my head. Give me a break. Cut me some slack.
Yeah.
I'm not used to being.
You
on
have
the
one
ground.
job.
That is not true.
He has like 7.
I have a couple jobs, and that particular one can also be accomplished by the guy that we left upstairs because he grew a beard too fast. Way too fast.
Hey, I'm
That
searching
was
for
actually
treasure.
That was still a legitimate reason.
That's a totally legitimate excuse not to be there. Searching for
Where's
treasure.
Davos bitter? God.
No, Davos is bitter. Levon's bitter.
Oh, okay. Well,
Levon's bitter as fuck. Davos is fine.
Well, at least it wasn't everyone trying to off again.
So you tripped an alarm spell at the end.
Yes, we did.
You didn't know
Damn
that
right
at
we
the
did.
time, but you did do that, and it was behind. It was specifically placed behind thick pieces of metal, so that detect magic or would not be able to penetrate through and see the magical wire. You know, sneaky shit kind of.
As you do.
Yeah, as I do.
As you do.
Passing vaults, which I know you're going to go back later. 3 of them have already been opened and ransacked, and these are thick, heavy dwarven vaults, overly heavy, with magnetized poles. Not bolts.
Lockstones. Lockstones.
Yeah, they have lockstones on the metal bars that go into the wall to actually seal it up, so that it locks them in place, and also locks the system inside of it, so that you can't unlock until you take off the lockstones somehow. Basically, I said you can't lockpick those type of doors without major equipment, which you do not have right now. So you moved on, bearing and using his robes, many things, to just slap open the door, and
robe of useful item.
robe of use, and this is where another thing, Hazel, you started basically doing last rites on several of the dead in basically a sleeping chamber, or what is now used as a sleeping chamber, before the final room of this episode.
Yes, you did.
May I ask, what brought you to that? Because you have never been as far as I could tell, up to this point, you have never been truly outgoing religious individual.
Yeah.
Well, she's prayed to Desna a couple of different times.
That
and
is true.
Specifically, tried to find the night sky.
To pray and stuff like that. Yeah, he definitely did not like Gardoon being in the city of Mountain.
Yeah. And it was honestly another thing for her to be able to do so that she wouldn't have to stop moving. Because she's not great at looking around, but she knows how to do last rites, and these bodies don't look like they had them.
They were mummified.
Yeah.
Drained of essence.
Yeah.
Drained of life.
Yeah, it's
And it ended up being a good thing that she did it.
Yes, I gave it basically a roll of a 15 or higher, and you rolled 2 15s, so I'm like, I'll roll with that. I like that. Plus, they're just 2 zombies. But it's still a good story. I loved it. Apart from that, you met a wraith with some specters, which caused some concern, especially with Davos being drained every other turn.
It was fine. It was fine.
Yeah.
It was fine.
You're making your contribution.
Again, he's not bitter. It's fine.
He's just,
What
you
really?
were calling him a bitch for being a rogue. Because he would go in.
Right.
and go out.
That's what was
Yeah.
just driving Eck nuts. Is like poof, into the wall, poof, just popping out into places. It was, again, it was touching on his fear factor. There was all these fear factor elements coming in. That's why Eck was not. He was more of like, because he had to climb in the cart where he was putting in people to try to
Adding to
smuggle
this
them
fear
out.
factor,
Of the cart.
Sparks. You decided to hit 2 specters at the same time with your weapon that shot lightning and caused thunder damage. First of all, deafening a bunch of you guys again. But what was your train of thought before pretty much burying alive Barian because you decided to do a thunder strike at the ceiling that was already who knows how old?
I'm going to correct you there. Lightning strike.
Lightning strike.
Because
You're
everyone
right.
knows lightning goes through ground.
Yes.
It doesn't.
But the effect is called lightning strike, but it does thunder damage.
Yes. Very simple. It was very simple. How can I hit something flying when I cannot fly?
That is true. So you could do that, but you found out that it's one of those situations. I could do that,
It's that.
but
Oh shit.
yeah,
Immediate consequences.
immediate consequences as
That's
you
a karma.
unlock the door that had a trap on it and being paralyzed.
Yeah.
But you got lucky with all the surprise round. Also counts as a round, so you got
Yeah.
to save again. So it worked out for you.
Yay, loopholes.
I was not happy. I was like, I want you fucking stunned. I want to be able to have 2 specters to go be up cuddle buddies right behind you. I was not happy. I'm like, well, that ain't happening. Yeah. But all said and done, and at this point, because we've already had episode 18, which is why we're doing the catch-up episode of how they rolled. When you first entered that throne room, seeing this entire operation on top of an operation, essentially, there was something going on here, and then something new. This entity that was controlling the undead, covered in robes and ritualistic symbols of the whatever deity that he was following. Basically, undead-looking person that can be arguably looking like a lich. So it's uncertain if he's the lich, like a minor lich, or some other type of power.
Of course he's a minor lich. This is a mine.
But
Time to go.
That's the end of it.
no.
Bye, guys. Jeez. Thank you, Sonny.
Well,
I liked it.
Says Derek down the hallway. But seeing this entire operation going of clearly time and resources, of basically taking the flesh of living entities, defiling them in some manner, and then re-adding it to something, aligning it in the tub at the end of the hallway. What did you guys think
okay.
of what was going on?
Cool.
Episode 18, well, you thought it was cool?
Yeah. So no. I mean, I have an idea what it. Eck has an idea what it was or looked at. I'm sure everyone has their own ideas.
oh yeah.
Characters.
Hazel's very confident.
What Eck saw was an assembly line for basically creating an army of some sort. Now, maybe it's not to the army scale of thousands, but it was basically like going like a manufacturing line.
Okay.
That's what he saw. Obviously, we don't engage or do any further, and we don't want to give any spoilers away for episode 18.
Yeah, and how that went down.
Because we really only just got to that room at the close of episode 17.
And at the end of the day, you haven't been able to investigate it.
Right.
So,
But that's what he saw was, this looks really, really not good. This is like bad
Yeah.
stuff.
And Hazel recognized the hand symbol that was up on the wall.
Oh.
that was you did, and then you called it out in the next episode. I gave you additional XP for that one.
Thank you.
Yeah. Recognizing that it did not have the eye symbol, but it was.
I think you had said it at one point.
No, it did. the Coven of the Rotting Hand did not have the eye at the center of
okay.
it. But this symbol did. But on how the hand was partially cracked and bent, it was uncannily similar to the actual skeletal design of the symbol. Even though it was represented in a different fashion.
Got a whole new idea now. It's not good.
Ed doesn't know.
And meanwhile, Derek comes in the back and scares you guys as this happens.
Oh no!
But that's the next episode.
This is not good. So what's going on? Don't do that! You come up and scare the hell out of Eck. Scare the hell out of me by just coming up and go, so what's going on? Right into my ear. Jesus. Make me jump out of my shell.
Matt, what was Sonny going through at this point? You weren't that disturbed as you were actually kind of digging it. It's like, this is kind of what I experienced. Or something like that.
That room?
Just the undead nature of things.
Oh, he knew this was bad news.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
that's why we're here. The whole crux of the thing is we don't have any choice. We either complete this mission or Sparks explodes, more or less, in one way or another.
Tries to kill you all.
Yeah.
At some point, exploding, probably.
And although I think Sparkus is coming around.
That's the red one. The red fuel will cause me to explode.
I think the
It's not red.
I think the kindred strangers or Flannan friends,
It's not
whatever you
red.
want to call the group at that moment, I think Sparks is part of it, and Sonny knows that he needs to keep the family together. So we gotta save him, and that's where he's at. Walking in that room, he doesn't give a shit what's in there. They're gonna kill it to get or they're gonna stop the ghost from going back upstairs regardless, because it's the only way to save him temporarily. So
Fair point. All right. So I know that was a lot of talking of this, that, because it was pretty much a gauntlet of just one thing after another. It was basically a dungeon grind, essentially what it was. Didn't give you guys a lot of rest. It didn't,
Oh, I know.
Oh, you took two short rests, which did change the outcome of this situation. May I ask? Yes, you have that entire situation of we have to do this in order to get what he needs, Sparks. But when is too much? That's the question. When do you draw the line saying this ain't worth it? We need to find a different route to save him.
there was no other route.
There isn't
We
another
did
route.
math.
Yeah.
Math doesn't lie.
I spent an entire night trying to be a freaking cartographer.
No, it was mathematics. You can take Dungeons and Dragons and everything else, but if you're playing your characters and the characters can do simple math, we have X number of days, and we're not even guaranteed we have that many days before he turns into feral monster or shuts down or whatever's going to happen to him.
The more conflicts, the worse it gets.
Until he's blue screens of death.
Yeah, blue screen of death. So it's all or nothing, and the kindred strangers have been all or nothing from the very beginning.
Yeah.
That is very true.
So it's a matter of we have to do this.
And if we do this and we go back to the little man, the little tiny grocer dude,
Paul Grocer.
and tall grocer,
Don't call him.
he's little to me.
Don't call him
He's tiny.
Don't call him.
Sorry, he's tiny.
I'll smack you if you don't call him.
And he doesn't pull through. Well, you're
We're gonna take care of
it's
mob
going to be a
boss
world
then.
of hurt. We're going to turn a world of hurt. But we're hurting. I mean, I've used up all my. I've used up almost all of my hit dice on not my rages.
Oh, you're talking about the.
I got some
hit
rages
dice,
left, but at the end of this episode, I already used a lot of hit dice because we're doing short rests.
Yeah.
But I was taking a lot of damage, so now I'm almost. I think I have one more hit die left, and
Yeah.
without a long rest. So
But
I used my wholeness of body already too in the first
Yeah.
fight, and I kind of wish I would have held out on it a little longer.
well, I've been rationing spells, trying to do the most with the least throughout the whole ordeal. And obviously, if you've seen the end of this episode, you know that we're walking into what is called the boss fight.
Essentially, the
Big bad evil
the BBEG of the dungeon, of this dungeon.
And
Big bad evil guy.
we are certainly not in a position. Most of the time when we go into these positions, we've been in much better circumstances, and it just plays to the desperation of what we're in.
Yeah.
And then our actions in episode 18, which I can't wait until we actually do it, how they rolled for 18, because our actions show that desperation because of what we end up.
Oh, yes.
There's many opportunities where we could have just said, we need to bug out. But I don't want to cover that because that's going to be spoilers.
No, just pre going into that. Once we went down the mine shaft, there was no coming back till we were completed.
The point of no return was the mine shaft.
The mine shaft. We had to do this. We have to save Sparks. We have to save Flan in the long run. We're gonna have to go do all that crazy shit. We got to find swords and
teeth. I'm excited.
swords and stuff for him. Hers hasn't been spelled out yet. We have to go see the god of death for me. I'm pretty sure we just got to go wipe out a bunch of slavers for you. That'll be your catharsis.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, that'll
Sure, because that'll be just basic ABC stuff, right? No, I'm sure he's got this whole network of
but I mean,
web and deceit and everything all tied
kill
together.
these people, then kill these people,
on all these
stabilize them.
missions, his Florence or wherever he's from is not going to burn down in 30 days. My dad's gonna wait.
My destiny can
your
wait.
destiny can wait. Your slavers are going to be there regardless of what.
Oh, exactly,
But
right.
we have no choice for this, and we kind of have no choice for the Flam thing either. Those are the two.
Yeah, because those are time limits, yeah. Or at least we have the perception from Varian that it was so amazing to put that together, to find out that Varian has a Flan is actually a piece of this greater elemental type creature that is being essentially eaten alive from the inside by being destroyed slowly and dug out and so forth, and to go save this.
Did he ever
it's like
explain
going to
that
save
to
a god. That's
Yeah.
interesting. He did actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
And so it was
In
really.
Varian's words.
In
In
Varian's
Varian's
words.
so
So that was a couple episodes ago where he did that.
Yeah.
I think it was episode 16 maybe.
So the point of no return was even before that mine shaft. The point of no return was back at the estate where we did the math,
Yeah.
and then we were handed what was the solution. We were going to follow that solution no matter where it went. If it was a giant red dragon, we probably would still be going after it.
You probably would have just bragged saying, "Hey, I killed your child."
Yeah.
At the
something.
same time, yeah.
So I mean,
And honestly, for Hazel, like, after being possessed, too, like, she's not turning back. Like, she already had to...
You got a grudge.
Yeah.
You got a grudge.
I already got fucked up.
You got a grudge for dead people.
it was that, and it's just we got to do what we got to do. And there's if you go into episode 18 knowing that
Yeah, which should be.
that's our situation.
When this comes out, it should be episode 18 will be airing
The
the very
day
next day.
after.
Yeah.
Right,
This would
so-
be closing episode 17 out. So.
So
Yeah, you got to go check it out. It's
So
going to be.
before we speak too much about this, because we all have done episode 18 and we were a little behind due to situations, so it was a bit
We're
of a
all
catch-up.
aware. We all have news.
Yes.
Yep.
All the news of the world is.
Yes.
And
Stay
so,
strong, everyone. We will get through this. I promise you that.
So I want to leave the people who watch the show. I know there's Jennifer and a few super fans who ask a bunch of questions. For those of you who know us outside of here, our characters are very much not like us. So pay close attention to how much effort and time we put into bringing these characters to life, and why we make our decisions. I'm not. If it were me, anyway. But that's not who Sunny is.
Sorry, man.
No, I mean, no, I'm just kidding.
That's one way.
Big steaming ball of foreshadowing.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm
No.
saying
No,
that
no.
Opposite.
robot. If I met a robot and the robot was running out of batteries in real life,
Oh, Pippin.
I'd probably do what Pippin did. Yeah. If I then he's laughing at you.
Right, please.
Uh,
All over my
so-
jade dice. They're now a different shade of green.
Well, that's good. That's a good omen for tonight's game. No, but I mean, if you had been with us, and we've played a game before this, if you'd been with us and met Hazel's last character, right, who wasn't Hazel, it was a totally different type of character.
Sorry.
The Hazel is not who Kat is, and you just got to understand that and maybe the only person who's ever really like who they are is you're very much like your character. You're chivalrous and all that, but the rest of us, we're not like our characters. So just remember that when you watch the show.
Oh, you will. Not you. This will.
And that's where a lot of us are discovering ourselves playing these characters. The characters are discovering themselves because we've built a backstory, but we don't have all the understandings. We're just using it as a foundation of our reactions as we perceive the world that is presented to us as we're maneuvering in it, and so we're developing ourselves, our characters, as you're watching, because this isn't scripted, you know.
Nope.
And the characters are changing.
Yeah.
And in episode 18, you'll see more changes, and in episode 19, you'll probably see more changes.
Yeah.
Just like you did from episode 1 to 2 to 3. So just
Honestly, Hazel has a lot more of a temper than I thought she would. Like going.
You have a slow burning grudge. You're like, I won't get you back now. I'll get you back.
I'm gonna fuck you up later.
Yeah, you won't know when it comes,
At least expect
but you
it.
will know when it arrives. You're that kind of person. But we are ending tonight's episode. I need to go polish my dice now.
We're gonna get ready for
Thank you for joining us.
Welcome to Dumbo Entendre Theater.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us for another episode of How They Rolled, episode 17, part 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I hope you have a lovely day, a lovely evening, or a lovely week in general. Stay strong, do what you need to do, wash your hands,
Wash your damn hands.
and just remain calm.
and let us know.
Have some tea as well.
Yeah. And hey, let us know in the comments if you like this layout and this type of discussion method using the 360-degree camera
Yeah,
with all of us, or if you like the old way, let us know. We're experimenting and we'd like to hear your feedback.
Yeah, definitely. This one's definitely a more relaxed feel.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah, me too.
Anyway,
Bird approved.
yes, Bert. Well, he gave mixed ratings over
No,
here.
he-
No. He's just mad at you for episode 18.
Okay.
No, he gave a shit.
Yeah, he gave a shit. Anyway, thank you,
Put a punch.
everyone. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, keep on rolling, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey, leave on.
I'm here for the show.
Leave on.